why I don't have my son. Let's talk about it. I get asked a question like this or some version of this question so often. Do not come for my juice, y'all. This is like so much less sugar, and it's half the sugar of the leading grapefruit juice brand, okay? And when I'm pregnant, I cannot keep down plain water. I can't drink stuff that's like too sweet, but this is just so delicious. I don't know why. I just feel like this is what Jesus drank at his second birthday. I just know it. Okay, let's talk about why I don't have my son. I've talked about this over on Instagram like maybe 2 weeks ago. I was on my stories for like 3 days just telling all this, and it was only up for 24 hours. So if you missed it, you missed it. But I'm going to try to summarize it again for you guys. So when I filed for divorce back in December of 2021, I filed for divorce after Penelope's dad, Anthony, was coming to town to Maryland to see her for Christmas. And he was going to be staying in a hotel. Penelope was going to be going to go stay with him there in the hotel. I had made a bunch of food and stuff for Christmas, and we had tons of leftovers. Huxley only ate meat, so the only person that would be eating it would have been me and Huxley's dad. But we had tons of leftovers, specifically crab dip. Penelope wanted to take some for her dad. So I packed some up in these to-go containers, and it was sitting on the counter. My son had received a Hot Wheel gift from my grandmother, his great-grandmother, and he wanted to go to Target to get some Hot Wheel cars for it. Target in Columbia, Maryland was where I was supposed to do my exchange with Penelope's dad. I was supposed to be dropping her off at Columbia Target. I was going to go into Columbia Target with Huxley to go get the cars. Well, Huxley's dad says, "Who is this food for?" And I said, "That's for Penelope and her dad." He started going crazy and he started throwing the food around the kitchen. The kids start screaming and crying. Huxley reaches out for me. I pick Huxley up. Huxley's dad tries to grab Huxley away from me. He grabs me by the arm. I rip my arm away from him. He's screaming and hollering at me, telling me he's going to call CPS on me and everything. So we end up finally leaving the house, and me, Penelope, and Huxley leave the house. We drive over to the Columbia Target. I'm like freaking out. He's hollering at me. Anthony was actually on the phone with me at this time because we were getting ready to meet up. So Anthony had heard all of this. Penelope's dad. We drive over to the Target in Columbia, and we get there, and Anthony's telling me you need to go to the police. This is ridiculous, blah, blah, blah. I'm terrified. I'd never gone to the police. I told a story previously about the one time while I was with Huxley's dad that I asked to go to the police, and he would not let me go after giving me a concussion. And he drove me to a parking lot where I met a police officer that was his friend that instead of helping me said he was going to arrest me for trying to tell what this man had done to me. So I was terrified to go to the police about anything. So Anthony's like, "You need to go to the police. I'm going to go with you." He takes Penelope in his car. I had Huxley in my car. We drive to the police station. We get to the police station in Ellicott City, Maryland, and they're like, "Hey," we were in there for maybe 3 minutes. They're like, "Hey," because of what time it is, it was evening time. It was dark outside. They were like, "You need to go down to the commissioner's office at the jail in Jessup, Maryland." So we were like, okay. So we get in the car. Anthony goes, he makes sure me and Huxley get in my car, and Anthony goes to get in his car. As we're getting in our car, Huxley's dad comes speeding through the parking lot of the police station, jumps out of his car, goes inside the police station. I'm freaking out at this point. I'm like, oh my gosh, because I had already gone to Target, and then I go to the police station. How did you know I was at the police station? How did you get there so fast? This is one of the reasons I knew he had a tracker in my car. So we get in the car. I'm driving. Anthony's driving his car. We're trying to go down to the police station in Jessup. As we're driving, Huxley's dad comes up, and he's, in my opinion, trying to run me off of the road. I'm on the phone with 911 at this point because I'm freaking out. And his dad, when this is brought up in court, does not deny that he did that. His only response to it was that he had somewhere to be and I was driving slow, AKA the speed limit. The police end up having me pull over on the side of the road. The police meet me there. They're standing there talking to me I'm, of course, hysterical, telling them everything that happens. Anthony takes Penelope to the hotel to put her stuff down because he didn't want her on the side of the highway or whatever. I had Huxley because we just felt like Penelope was allowed to be with Anthony, but I didn't want to stoke the fire even more by sending Huxley with Anthony. So I felt like I could do my best to try to keep him safe with me. So I wait on the side of the road. The police get a call over the radio because they're like, the guy that they're looking for or whatever is down at the police station. He was trying to file criminal charges against me. It did not work because I didn't do anything to him. And so the police are like, okay, he's down. He's left the police station. Now we'll escort you to the police station. They take me there to the police station. Anthony meets me there. I fill out the paperwork. Huxley's there with me. Anthony meets me there. He has Penelope. We were there for a couple of hours, fill out all the paperwork. I ended up getting a protective order, and in Maryland, they also have another protective order, which is called an extreme risk protective order, which basically means if we don't give you this level of protection, then we feel like your life is not just like someone's going to beat you up, cuss you out, or harass you, which is normally what protects you in a regular protective order. But an extreme risk protective order is like your life could potentially be over if you don't get this extra level of protection. And they also put charges on him for assault. So they went and arrested him. We ended up staying in a hotel. He was arrested. I had a restraining order against him. So I had Huxley with me. I took Huxley. We were staying in hotels because we were scared to stay at my house because his dad was, in my opinion, on the Ring cameras that I had installed, was driving by in the morning time. He claims it wasn't him. Whatever. He had also, during this period that I had the restraining order, he went in and left. And I'm going to try to put pictures of some of this stuff at the end. But there's pictures of him on my Ring camera trying to peer into my back door. He also, at some point, went into the house and left a single bullet on my nightstand. Okay. So we go to court. I filed for divorce, and the protective orders were in district court. Divorce in Maryland is in circuit court. I filed, my protective orders are obviously in district court. I went for like, you get one immediately and then you go back like the next day and they give you like a temporary one and then you go for your final hearing. So I got the first one, I got the second one, and then our final hearing, my attorney, which I don't believe was the best decision, wanted my final protective order to be heard in circuit court because I had also filed my divorce in circuit court. Well, the judge that we saw that day for circuit court, it was like 2 weeks later. The judge that we saw that day was a retired judge and was like, this should not be heard here. I'm kicking it back out. And if you want this level of protection, you got to do everything all over again and go back to district court. At this point, I was terrified after having the bullet on my nightstand. Like, I knew that his dad was so upset that he had been arrested, and in his mind, basically embarrassed. And this is my opinion. But I had been living in hotels with Huxley during the week so that he could go to school. And then on the weekends, we would go to Virginia to save money because I didn't have any money. I didn't have access to my money. All of my money, like when I was working at the church, I had a direct deposit, had to be deposited into his bank account that only had his name on it. Like, the only money that I would have would be from doing like keto challenges or whatever. I gotta take a drink. God, this juice is so good. Yeah, so... oh my God, scary stories. I can't do this story without the light. You can't even see me. Oh, I had to turn the light on. I'm back. Okay. So, yeah. His dad, when the protective order got dropped, his dad never contacted me to see Huxley. Never contacted me to see Huxley. I contacted him to see Huxley. And I said, hey, like, trying to be a bigger person, like, let's work on this. Like, here's the days you can have him. Here's the days I'll have him, whatever. He never tried to contact me. What he did try to do, though, was break back in the house. I did change the locks. The police told me to change the locks. The police offered me a Ring camera just because of everything that had been happening. Like, they were really concerned for my safety. And so he never asked for a key to get into the house. He never asked for me to let him back in the house. What he did do, though, was come over like multiple times and try to break into the house. I have pictures of him from my Ring cameras of him peering into back windows, back doors, all of this stuff, but never asked to see his son. Well, finally, he says he'll pick this Huxley up from school like a week later. And I was like, okay. He picks him up from school. We're doing this back and forth. Like, he would have him for 5 days. I would have him for 3 days. And then I would have him for 5 days and he would have him for 3 days. So I'm thinking we're going to do this week on, week off thing. Like, this is why Anthony got me the townhouse in Maryland, the 10-month lease, because we were going to be doing this week on, week off thing. Well, one of the times that he has him, he goes and files this emergency petition, making all of these crazy allegations, just disgusting, heinous allegations. And they end up setting a hearing date on Zoom, but not with a judge, with a magistrate, which is like an administrative person, and they don't have the same level of authority. I'm not going to be able to get this all in this video because I only got 30 seconds left. So you're going to have to watch the next video.